Fighting Rolly is that time. I think he has that vengeance, that type of chip on his shoulder that he wants to prove now to myself that he's better than me.
When Teo's good, he's incredibly good. Like, you almost have to shake your head and remind yourself that Teo beat Josh Taylor and Vasily Lomachenko.
Yeah.
Like, beat Josh Taylor.
Vasily Lomachenko was even more impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, that is incredible.
It's a massive win.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So, you know, if that guy turns up, he beats Rolly Romero.
I can tell you that I understand why the odds makers will have Teofimo Lopez probably the favorite, because of his experience, because the number of champions he's already fought, and because his track record and his victories, beating a Lomachenko, beating a Josh Taylor, you know, and he seems to come back from loss with a vengeance.
Teo fights everybody. Teo don't duck nobody.
Yeah. Monday, Sunday.
Like I said, you know, you gotta just. I'm grateful he took this fight because this is a Hall of Fame victory for me. Teo's already in the Hall of Fame, but this is a Hall of Fame victory for me, and this is also a chance for him to make history.
There are some fights where the winner simply gets another name added to their record, and then there are fights where everything feels different. Teofimo Lopez versus Rolly Romero belongs in that second category.
Funny breakdown about Rolly Romero versus Teofimo. I'm concerned. Honestly, this is day one. Maybe day two after media workout and the lie detector test, maybe I'll be thinking differently. What Rolly Romero told me. He told me the game plan. He knows Teofimo Lopez a lot, and he doesn't have Bullet as his coach. No diss to Bullet, but this is a different Rolly. Rolly has Salas, all right? Now, Salas was his trainer with Ryan Garcia. He had a game plan for him too. Rolly told me his game plan.
More importantly, it's going to be a good fight. This is a coin flip fight that most people in boxing on the hardcore side think Teofimo is a likely favorite. About 66% probability chance that Teofimo win.
Because this isn't just about two recognizable names sharing a ring. It's about two fighters arriving at completely different stages of their careers, both believing that a victory could open the door to something much bigger. For Teofimo Lopez, this is another opportunity to prove that the best version of the takeover is still inside him.
Coming right back to fight a fight like this shows that he's still focused, and because I believe his father is getting on that right track, this is going to be a dangerous Teofimo Lopez.
Rolly's has a much better chance than people think. Rolly's is showing up every single fight. Again, even when he fought Ryan, he improved and he showed us discipline. He didn't go all out on the attack just to try to brawl like he used to. He was disciplined to box most of the night. Even though he dropped Ryan, he was able to box and keep a very good composure.
For Rolly Romero, it's a chance to show that his victory over Ryan Garcia wasn't a one-night surprise, but the beginning of a completely different chapter. And the closer August 22nd gets, the more interesting this matchup becomes. Teofimo Lopez has already experienced the highest levels of boxing. He has beaten elite opposition, captured world titles, and produced performances that show just how special his ability can be. His victory over Vasily Lomachenko remains one of the biggest statements of his career. His performance against Josh Taylor showed another side of his boxing ability. When Lopez is confident, sharp, and fully committed to his game plan, he can control a fight with speed, timing, movement, and explosive combinations. But that's also why there is so much pressure on him now, because boxing fans have seen both versions of Teofimo. They have seen the brilliant version, and they have also seen the version that becomes hesitant, overthinks situations, loses his rhythm, and allows opponents to make the fight uncomfortable. Against Rolly Romero,
I want a big fight. Like I said, who else is there that can make me a big fight in this sport? I want to do something. I want to do something for my legacy. I don't care about anything else. I want to make sure that I get in the Hall of Fame.
You know, Teo has had success at 135 pounds, at 140 pounds. He's also had some ups and downs. And obviously, last time out, Teo was blanked by Shakur Stevenson. Teo says he just wasn't there.
Both fighters that blow hot and cold, and you don't know what one's going to turn up. That's why this fight is a great fight. Inactivity has been a problem for both of them. Shakur Stevenson beat Teo easily last time out. Teo looks a shadow of his former self, which means not a lot because he's one of those guys that's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit fragile, maybe mentally. I'm not sure what it is about him. Sometimes when he's good, he's unbelievable, and when he's poor, he's really poor. And with Rolly Romero, he's exactly the same. You know, on his day, he is a tough guy to beat. Gets into a rhythm, really tough.
Romero, that inconsistency could become extremely dangerous. Romero is not the kind of opponent you want to give unnecessary opportunities to. His style has always been unusual. His timing can be awkward, his movements can be difficult to read, and his physical strength allows him to create problems even when the fight isn't going exactly according to plan. But perhaps the biggest change in Romero has been his patience. The old version of Rolly was often searching for the spectacular moment. He wanted to hurt opponents, overwhelm them, and create chaos. The version we have seen more recently is different. He can wait, he can stay composed, he can allow an opponent to make mistakes, and that transformation became especially important when he faced Ryan Garcia. Romero did.
Teofimo is a little bit of a favorite when it comes to betting, and he's moving up to the 147-pound division to fight for Rolly's belt. What are your thoughts on that fight, man? Do you see it leaning towards either way, towards either fighter?
I think Teofimo is a hell of a fighter, very intelligent fighter, and you know, and I know both of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but I think Teofimo's going to be a little too much for Rolly. I think he's going to be a little too technical, and he knows how to box and how to put pressure, and so when he needs to, and so I think definitely Theo got it.
Didn't simply walk into the ring and start throwing wild punches. He stayed focused, followed his plan, and showed that he could handle 12 rounds of pressure without abandoning his identity. That victory changed the way people looked at him. Suddenly, Romero wasn't just the unpredictable puncher with dangerous power. He was a fighter who had demonstrated that he could execute a strategy against a major opponent, and now he wants to prove he can do it again. The interesting part is that Romero and Lopez already have familiarity with one another. They have crossed paths before, they know each other, and there is a genuine history between their camps and families. But all of that becomes irrelevant once the opening bell rings. Friendship doesn't win rounds, familiarity doesn't stop punches, and respect doesn't protect you from a counter. Once August 22nd arrives, both fighters will be trying to solve the same problem. How do you force your opponent to fight the kind of fight you want? For Lopez, the answer probably begins with distance. His speed could be one of his biggest advantages. If Teofimo can establish his jab, control the range, move his feet, and put combinations together without standing in front of Romero for too long, he can make this a very difficult night for Rolly. The longer Lopez stays disciplined, the more opportunities he should have to use his superior boxing ability. But there is one enormous warning attached to that strategy. He cannot afford to become predictable, because Romero doesn't need to win every exchange. He doesn't need to dominate every round. He doesn't even need to throw dozens of punches to change the fight. He needs one clean opportunity. That's the frightening part of fighting someone like Rolly. You can be doing everything correctly for several minutes, controlling the distance, landing combinations, winning exchanges, and then one mistake can completely change the momentum. That is why Romero's power remains such an important factor. Antonio Tarver has also highlighted the physical danger Romero brings into the ring. From a pure technical perspective, Lopez may have more tools. He has the cleaner boxing background and arguably more ways to win. But boxing isn't fought on paper. Romero's strength, awkward timing, and unpredictability can make a technically superior opponent uncomfortable. And that's exactly what he did against Ryan Garcia. Garcia struggled to maintain the kind of offensive rhythm many expected from him. Romero remained composed and continued to make his physical presence felt. That performance matters because it showed that Rolly doesn't necessarily have to chase the knockout. He can wait for it, and that could be a major difference against Teofimo. Another fascinating...
Before I get out of here for now, I just want to ask you about a couple of other fights going around the sport, other fighters. You know, you talking about God a lot and your faith. It reminds me of Rolly a little bit, who's gotten very headstrong into his faith. And
well, that's great. I'm happy to hear that he's establishing a relationship with God, and God's only going to help him. That's only going to help him. That's only going to make him better. And I definitely know this because I know this firsthand. I mean, the miracles that have happened in my life, you know, they cannot be nobody else but God. I know that I serve the only true God, and I will forever serve him till the Lord picks me up, you know. And you know, we have big things happening, and that's all because of God. God said things that we're ready for it, and whenever we're ready for it, God's gonna give it to us, and that's what it is.
So yeah, he's been headstrong into it, and is talking about it a lot. Again, heading into his fight with Teofimo.
That's what I thought too, you know what I mean? So, you know, I think that he's going to be able to capitalize on just the little mistakes that Rolly does.
What's he got to do to disarm that bomb a little bit, to not get caught by the timing and the power of Rolly? How do you?
I think he has a box. He has a box and uses his ring generalship. Boxing to the left, boxing to the right. Using your feints and keeping your hands up tight because Rolly comes with those bombs. So you have to be able to catch him up here. Don't have your guard down here or be doing this. No.
That's usually how he fights, though. Too.
Yeah, but
not a high guard guy.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, I hope that I see some improvement in the fight, right from round one. That he has his hands up. If he has his hands up here, touching his temples up here, I think he'll be all right. Because Rolly throws those haymakers.
Is it tough when you're as a fighter, when you're in the position Tio is, and you've been a great fighter, but you get thoroughly outboxed by a fighter like Shakur? Is that tough to have a turnaround in your next fight and be the champion?
Well, it's. I mean, I don't think that I was totally outclassed by any fighter.
Right.
But
not shut out like that.
But the last Mosley fight, I had nothing. Right. It made me get down to 54. I had nothing. So, I wasn't competitive at all with that fight. So, I don't know. I just feel, I think that Theo just gonna be a little too much for him. I mean, I like Rolly too. He's a cool dude. I don't have no problem with him, but I just think that, I think that, Theo got it.
Element of this matchup is the work being done behind the scenes. Romero's team has emphasized organization, patience, timing, and his lead hand. Rather than simply relying on raw aggression, the goal appears to be turning his natural explosiveness into something more controlled. That matters because the most dangerous puncher isn't always the fighter who throws the hardest. Sometimes it's the fighter who knows exactly when to throw. If Romero can make Lopez uncomfortable with his jab, disrupt his rhythm, and force him into exchanges he doesn't want, the fight could quickly become much more competitive than the technical rankings suggest. But then we come back to the biggest question surrounding Teofimo Lopez. Which version shows up? If the Teofimo who defeated Lomachenko walks into that ring, this could look completely different. That version of Lopez was confident. He was relaxed. He trusted his reactions. He didn't hesitate. He made elite-level boxing look natural. That is the version Spencer Oliver and other analysts believe could be too much for Romero, and it's easy to understand why. Lopez has the higher ceiling. He has faced elite fighters. He has championship experience. He has already proven that he can compete at the highest level. But the problem is that potential doesn't win fights by itself. Execution does. And that's where Romero enters the equation. Rolly doesn't need to become a better boxer than Teofimo overnight. He simply needs to make Lopez fight badly. If he can break Teofimo's rhythm, make him hesitate, force him to exchange when he doesn't want to, and make him question every opening, Romero gives himself a real chance. That is why this fight feels so difficult.
We are going to talk about your stablemate, Mr. Moses Atalma. All right, let's talk about two good fighters that are going to meet August 22nd live on DAZN. We are talking about Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez. We're about to get it on. Rolly Romero hasn't fought, by the way, since that win over Ryan Garcia, Times Square, which feels like a lifetime ago. Teofimo Lopez fought earlier this year against Shakur Stevenson and got completely outclassed, if I'm honest with you, in that fight.
Both fighters that blow hot and cold, and you don't know what one's going to turn up. That's why this fight is a great fight. Inactivity has been a problem for both of them. Shakur Stevenson beat Teo easily last time out. Teo looks a shadow of his former self, which means not a lot because he's one of those guys that's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit fragile, maybe mentally. I'm not sure what it is about it. Sometimes when he's good, he's unbelievable, and when he's poor, he's really poor. And with Rolly Romero, he's exactly the same. You know, on his day, he's a tough guy to beat. Gets into a rhythm, really tough. And we need to find that out because these fighters have been in and around the mix, but we're not getting them over the line. And that's the disappointment about this, because those weight divisions, the super lightweight, welterweight divisions, where you've had all these great fighters.
It was the glamour division.
You know, we had, who was it? Gervonta Davis. Yeah. You know, he was in and around with all these guys when they were at super lightweight, and the fights never sort of quite materialised. You know, Gervonta Davis beat Ryan Garcia. He'd done him in 7 rounds. Garcia got accused of swallowing it, hit with a body shot. And then he's sort of gone off the rails a little bit. He's disappeared into the wilderness. But we want that standout fighter.
I think America's craving a standout fight, especially in the welterweight division, which for years has been the money division. Not quite that anymore, but it's a good fight nonetheless. Teofimo Lopez versus Rolly Romero, August 22nd is live on DAZN. Then, as we said a bit earlier on the show, September 12th, it's another big one. A big one, actually. Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn. It's been fun.
It's been great.
It's been fun. The time's gone. 3 hours is up, which is incredible. I just want to say thank you to all the guests. Been some really fantastic. I can't believe that we had a guest not turn up for us.
Did we?
We had a guest not turn up for us.
What was we doing talking?
I don't know what happened.
Did they turn up and they just couldn't get in?
No, I was very upset. But it's not. Mr. Kraus, you, next time, please make sure you turn up for us, because we would love to speak to you. Gladys Kraus, obviously unbeaten light heavyweight. But life things happen, right? And maybe things got in the way. Spencer Oliver, it's been great with you.
It's been an absolute pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much.
On AM, on DAB, via the TalkSport app, and on your smart speaker. TalkSport.
To predict. One fighter has the more complete technical package. The other has the kind of physical strength and unpredictability that can destroy a perfect game plan with one moment. And there is another layer to this matchup that makes it even more important. The welterweight division is wide open. Names like Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, and Conor Benn are all looking toward the same territory. Everyone wants to establish themselves. Everyone wants the biggest fights. Everyone wants to become the name that controls the division. That means August 22nd isn't simply about winning one fight. For Teofimo, it's about proving that his career is moving toward another championship-level run. For Romero, it's about proving that his win over Ryan Garcia was the beginning of something much bigger. And that's what makes the stakes so high. If Lopez wins convincingly, the conversation immediately shifts toward what's next for him. If Romero wins, especially if he does it against the version of Teofimo fans know is capable of elite boxing, his status changes dramatically. Suddenly, the victory over Ryan Garcia isn't an isolated achievement. It's a pattern, and that is exactly what Romero wants. So when the bell finally rings, expect Lopez to look for speed, movement, combinations, and control. Expect Romero to stay patient, use his physicality, search for openings, and wait for the moment when Teofimo gives him something to attack. The first few rounds could tell us a lot. Can Lopez establish his rhythm? Can Romero force him backward? Can Teofimo stay disciplined when Rolly starts applying pressure? And perhaps most importantly, what happens when one of them lands the first major punch? Because that's when the entire fight could change. Teofimo has the skills to outbox Romero. Romero has the power to punish mistakes. One fighter wants structure, the other wants uncertainty. And somewhere between those two styles is where this fight will be decided. My early lean is toward Teofimo Lopez because of his experience, technical ability, speed, and proven performances against elite competition. But picking Lopez doesn't mean counting Romero out. Not even close. Rolly has already shown that he can stay composed against a major opponent, and his power makes him dangerous until the final bell. If Teofimo gets everything right, he has the tools to control this fight. If he loses focus, overthinks, or allows Romero to dictate the exchanges, the outcome could become very different. That's what makes this matchup so compelling. Two fighters, two completely different styles, one massive opportunity. So now the question goes to you. Who wins on August 22nd, Teofimo Lopez or Rolly Romero? Does Teofimo's speed and technical ability give him too many advantages? Or can Rolly's power, patience, and awkward style create another major upset? Let us know your prediction in the comments. And if you enjoy boxing breakdowns, fight analysis, training camp stories, and the biggest updates from the world of professional boxing, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because when Teofimo Lopez and Rolly Romero finally step into the ring, all the predictions disappear. Only one fighter gets to prove who was right.